The Denver Nuggets, they took over the top of the West, and the MVP conversation seems like it's coming to a close. Jamal Murray looks better than he has before the injuries, hitting everything, shooting very well. Let's talk about all that and more here today. Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. Thank y'all so much for being here. Looking forward to this episode. If you didn't get a chance, you got a Den Bingers, at least 3 of the 4 members yesterday for a special episode as we talked about the Minnesota's win. This has been a really interesting day. The Denver Nuggets, man, they're just continuing to take care of business. They're sitting at the top of the conference, taking care of business. Nikola Jokic just continues to solidify his MVP case. And what's so funny about this is we're kind of in a place now with Joker where, I had a conversation with Eddie Gonzalez a little bit last night, who was with the boardroom with Kevin Durant. And we had a really interesting conversation just about Joker as a whole. And some of the stuff that we talked about was, why is the NBA a little reticent to accept Joker as this all-time great player who is apparently going to be moving towards the status of somebody like a Larry Bird, somebody like a Wilt Chamberlain, somebody like a Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And I think one of the things that we discussed was it's because of some of this is obviously there's a background thing. English is not his first language. He's from Serbia. And then he's not like obviously a known American commodity. I think even with some players here, like, Larry Bird from Indiana, everybody kind of knew about his background with the Indiana State. Magic Johnson with the Michigan State. There was a legacy thing. They got drafted around the same time. And then you got Michael Jordan, North Carolina, blue blood, one of the most prestigious college programs in the world. You got Hakeem, went to Houston, and then he got drafted by the Houston Rockets. And then, there are a bunch of players that have been international that have gained a lot of celebrity and moved up. Giannis obviously from Greece, Nigeria. But I think with Jokic in particular, because Jokic is just not as forthcoming with information about himself or campaigning about himself or talking about his legacy or comparing himself. A lot of this is in the media. I think it's been difficult for people to tell the story without him saying anything. Now, for me, I just obviously don't think that is enough of a reason to not crown him or to dispel him a little bit. I think that Jokic is very advertising. I think there are a lot of things that he does that are never before seen. Like even this year, if you look at the course of the season, Nikola Jokic has developed his own pass. Like that pass that he has to Aaron Gordon that he's built out of that short roll, it was always there. But now it's become like a staple for people when they're thinking about Joker and his dominance. It's his ability to get in that in-between zone and to just find guys. Like if you give him a short roll and he has a 4-on-3, he's going to take advantage with it. And I think, JJ Redick and LeBron James, they had a really interesting conversation about Nikola Jokic on the Mind the Game podcast. And one of the things that he said is that Jokic and his court mapping is what separates him. It's his ability to be at one place on the court, to see everything that's happening, and then to be able to predict based on the space and the response of the defense to actions like a cutting or a back screen or a curl screen, or if you're getting ready to run a DHO, if you're in a horn set and somebody's running a pin down for you to get up to the top of the key. Joker is just able to recognize things that are happening and then dismantle you based on the mistakes you're making or gaps you're leaving in your defense. And what I love so much about where Joker has kind of taken his game is he's just become a next level thinker in the way that he processes through information and how he just continues to deal with coverages that he's seen this year. And, something I do love about Joker, that if you just even look at how good the Nuggets have been, when Jokic is on the court among all MVP candidates, he's leading the group. He's a plus 11.8 net rating this year. The Nuggets have a 122.3 offensive rating and a 110.5 defensive rating when he's on the court. And that puts him right in between the defensive rating. The Nuggets are with Jimmy Butler and Jared Allen. And then when you put offensively, that puts him right at the top of the league. Derek White's a 122.4, but again, Derek White is a role player. I mean, Jokic is the best player on the best team that's orchestrating the best offense. And I think it's just the way that he's been able to handle himself over the course of this year, the amount of games that he's played. He's played 77 games this year. That's a lot. We'll see tonight, when we talk about the game that's upcoming, we'll see tonight, if Joker's going to play. It sounds like Victor Wembanyama might play. So, the Nuggets want to secure that first seed. They're probably going to have to close it out for the rest of the year. Maybe not in the Memphis Grizzly game, but for sure, probably in the Spurs game. And I just think overall, the conversation about Joker has been very interesting. I think a lot of people have accepted he's the best player in the world. But I think some of this is there's just because you weren't solidified and certified coming into the league, because you're not in a situation where you've been able to just develop kind of through the pipeline as like this natural superstar. I think a lot of people are just a little slower to develop on Joker than they might have been, had it been another player. So it's definitely been frustrating but interesting. But Jokic right now, the reason why it's not like a huge deal, I mean, because really it's just narratives, NBA Twitter, when you watch First Take or Undisputed or one of those shows, I think a lot of people have accepted it. But if you look at the betting odds right now for MVP, I mean, Joker is just like far ahead of anybody else. And Joker is currently sitting as a minus 5,000 to win the award, which obviously, you're losing a lot of money if you put any money on that. And so I do think that he's locked it up. I just hope that as the year goes on, the Nuggets are going to have a world of a time in the playoff because they're going to play versus a really good team in the first round. And one of the things I want to mention too, I don't know if y'all know this, but if you look at the standings in the Western Conference, the Denver Nuggets are one of 10 teams to have 45 or more wins this season. They're one of 10 teams to have 45 or more wins in the Western Conference, y'all. How stupid is the West? The Houston Rockets have 2 more games left. They're 39-41, and they absolutely have an opportunity to win 41 games this year. So you would have 11 teams in the Western Conference that are 500 or better over the course of the season. And I just think that making it through the slogfest, that's going to be the Western Conference playoffs. It's just going to be a mighty feat by whoever is able to accomplish that. And I think, obviously, Nikola Jokic is going to have to be at his best in order to make that happen. So, I'm excited. I think Joker's going to win the MVP award. He's going to be first-team All-NBA after being second-team All-NBA last year on the route to his first title. He has a chance. Who was the last person? He has a chance to be one of the first people to win the MVP in the same year and win the NBA championship. Because it didn't happen with Giannis and the Bucks. It did not happen with Steph Curry. It did not happen with the Warriors. Did not happen with the Toronto Raptors. I'm trying to think. Didn't happen with KD. LeBron James would have been the last one. So 2012, 2013. That's the last one. And then before that, I'm even more. So I just think that, this is just going to be such a fun opportunity. And I think obviously if you're a Denver Nuggets fan, that you're in a place where you're kind of watching a generational player grow and develop who's going to be on his way to 3 MVPs and then aiming for 2 finals MVPs, all in a 4-year span. So it's going to be great. I'm excited. Again, a shout out to Luka Doncic. He's had an incredible year this year, 34, 9-9. He deserves all the love that he's getting in the MVP race. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, also another player that deserves everything that he's gotten. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 30, 10, and 6, 60% from the field. He's been great this year. Honestly, had he had a better record this year, I think he'd be even higher. Obviously they were able to perform up the expectations that people had for them coming into preseason. And then Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, really whoever you have kind of in that 5th spot, all of them are well deserving of all the just due that they would get for being in the MVP conversation or potentially winning the MVP. But y'all, up next, we're going to talk a little bit about Jamal Murray and how he changes so much for the Nuggets and really how his play has inspired the Denver Nuggets to really just even elevate their game even more in that Minnesota Timberwolves game. We'll be right back for more here, Locked On Nuggets. So, y'all, you know what? That instant confidence boost you get from an outfit that makes you look really good, that's what I get with Stitch Fix. Now, you can easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give my stylist my size, style, budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And they send 5 just for me pieces plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. I keep what works and send back the rest. My stylist always sends me just the right pieces and the fit is on point. It's like they have style ESP. I don't know how they do it, but they just get me. Stitch Fix makes it so easy. I don't like to shop all the time. I love that they save me time and effort. And plus, I get outfits that make me feel really good, look really good. And y'all, you know, I went out to dinner the other night. I had like this like kind of beige white fit on. And, you know, the shoes were some Nikes. They were white with a brown touch on them. And then I had the jeans on, like the faded white jeans, faded, blue jeans, but like kind of had white in them. And then I had like a nice little beige top on, had a hat, had a fit, little chain. And I was cool. Like, and people were coming up to me talking about my fit. Like, oh, I love it. You know, when you dress well, it just gives you a certain kind of confidence and you feel really good. And you impact the room differently. So y'all, style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon. That's stitchfix.com/lockedon. stitchfix.com/lockedon. And y'all, we'll be right back here. Locked On Nuggets. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. Y'all, make sure if you're with us on the YouTube side, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe, y'all. We're on the way to 7,000 subscribers here on the Locked On Nuggets YouTube page. If you're listening to us on audio, please give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes. That way more and more people can hear the great content that you're getting every day on Locked On Nuggets. And on top of that, you get to listen to myself, Matt Moore, and Adam Mades. And so, we really love doing this content for you. It's been a lot of fun this year. Who could have thought that the Denver Nuggets could potentially win 58 games this season? Just goes to show you how special the season has been. Y'all, but let's talk a little Jamal Murray. That's our guy. That's one of the best playoff riders in the league, one of the best point guards in the league, one of the best shooters in the league. The dude is just made of all the right stuff. He's always willing, always ready. So on the season, Jamal Murray, 21 points a game, 4.1 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 58% true shooting. It's not incredible, but if you look at his raw numbers, 21, 4, 6, and 6.6, 1 steal a game, 0.7 blocks. He's shooting 48% from the field, 42% from 3, and 84.8% from the free throw line. Jamal Murray is having a pretty interesting season in that it's kind of slept on just how good he's been and just how good the Denver Nuggets have been when he's been on the court this year. And I think a really interesting stat, I mentioned this a little bit the other day, is that I think like people just don't realize that when Jamal Murray has been on the court this year, the Denver Nuggets are 42-13. 42-13, y'all. That is insane. That puts the Denver Nuggets on a 63-win pace. Round up a little bit, a 63-win pace when Jamal Murray plays. And again, if Jamal Murray plays tonight, if they decide they want to play him, like they're just going to go up even more. They might be moving to 43-13, y'all. Again, it just needs to be stated that Jamal Murray is very integral to how good this team has been, and who knows what their record would have been if he just would have been a little bit more available. But if you look at the last 3 games since he come back from injury, starting off with the Atlanta Hawks game, Jamal Murray's averaging 21 points a game, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. He's shooting 56.7% from the field. He's shooting 50% from three. Now he's shooting just 4 of 6 from the free throw line, 66.7. In this last game, Jamal didn't take any free throws versus Utah for some reason. He missed 2 free throws. No idea what that was about. But, Jamal Murray's a plus 43 since he's come back. And, again, like, the offense, when he's there, it just makes sense. The game he had versus the Timberwolves was probably one of the more impressive games on the year, given the fact that Jamal has had to deal with injuries for a good amount of the season, and given the fact that Jamal Murray has had to leave a couple games early this year. Like, he's not been able to develop a consistent rhythm as much as we would like. But I love the fact that it looked like he didn't even lose a step. Like, the fact in the reality that Jamal Murray, when he plays with Nikola Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon and KCP, he just makes it all make sense. And he's still been on a minute count. He's been on a minutes restriction since he came back. But, y'all, if you look at the lineups now, including this Minnesota Timberwolves game, the Denver Nuggets have played 46 games with their starting five. 46. 913 minutes played together. A 125.5 offensive rating. A 125.5 offensive rating. And they have just been able to take everybody to task so far this year. And if you look at lineup with 500 plus minutes, they're by far the best. So a heavy used lineup so far this year. So the main used lineups in the NBA this year are going to be the Washington Wizards they have with Jones, Kuzma, Gafford, Poole, and Denny. And then you got the Clippers with Harden, George, Kawhi, Zubac, Man. And then you have the lineup with Brook Lopez, Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Malik Beasley. And then you have the Celtics starting five. And then you have the OKC Thunder starting five. And the only team that has a better net rating is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks. But if you look at the minutes distribution, they have played 314 less minutes. So what's working for the Nuggets is that even though they've had to kind of pace themselves well, whenever the Denver Nuggets have been able to get everybody on the court, and this mainly means for Jamal Murray, they've just been outstanding. Outstanding. And their ability just to make shots down the stretch of games, I think, is what makes it so special. Like, if you go back and watch that Minnesota Timberwolves game, which I have, the fourth quarter was insane. The shot making is insane. Jamal Murray, his ability to navigate those screens with Nikola Jokic, creating opportunities for Michael Porter Jr. when he crashes, finding Aaron Gordon for dump-off spots. And it's just the camaraderie and the chemistry, all of it. It just continues to be a really, really important story for the Nuggets, man. And it just cannot be said enough that Jamal Murray makes this team go. I said this a lot often. If you have heard me, I liken it to Nikola Jokic. I said this in 2020, early 2021. Nikola Jokic is like water. It's Bruce Lee. He always adjusts. If water erodes rock. It's the most powerful force in the world. It can fit inside of any crevice. It can make any shape. It can fill any hole. And that's the way Jokic plays. Like, he just kind of maneuvers based on what needs to happen and what's happening in front of him and the expectations and the moment in the game. But on the other end of this, Jamal Murray is the fire. Jamal Murray is the one that gets the Nuggets from this place of, like, we're playing really good or we're down a little bit in a playoff setting, and all of the sudden Jamal Murray just goes to flames. And he just becomes this next level scorer, next level playmaker, next level shot maker. And it's just such a rare quality to see a player that is able to take the toughest moments mentally and then turn them into its advantages by getting more aggressive in many of the smarter ways and the more courageous ways. So it's just incredible. And again, the Denver Nuggets obviously would not be where they are. And obviously, now having Jamal Murray back for 3 games, he's just been special. Aaron Gordon may or may not play the last couple games. He kind of just needs a rest. Get the full 9 days off before the playoffs. But Jamal decides to play. We'll tap into that a little bit as well. On the other side, we're going to talk about the Denver Nuggets defense. Their defense has carried over from the playoffs. And I don't even know if I was expecting them to be able to sustain this level of greatness defensively over the course of the season. And obviously, it's kind of ebbed and flowed. It was as high as 5, 4 times, and now it's kind of settled back to 8 a little bit. So we're going to talk about all that and more on the other side here at Locked On Nuggets. So, y'all, passion, drive, patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers. We'll be right back for more here at Locked On Nuggets. What's going on, y'all? We are back here for the final segment here at Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. Thank y'all so much for being here with us. The chat is bumping. The chat is alive. If you're on the audio side, if you can ever catch us live, make sure you do. If you're listening to this in your car, on your way to work, leaving work, on your way to the game, on your way to brunch, on your way to get some food, to pick up the kids, shout out to you. Shout out to you for being an everyday global citizen, taking care of your business. Yo, the Denver Nuggets, their defense has been spectacular. I don't know if y'all don't know if you've been paying attention. The Denver Nuggets defense has been spectacular this year. Over the course of the year, the Denver Nuggets, their net rating, it's okay, plus 5.4. You can tell they definitely have been kind of taking care of business. But defensively, the Denver Nuggets, they got the 8th ranked defense in the NBA. They have a 112.2 defensive rating so far this year, which is 4 points behind the Minnesota Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves have one of the best defenses of the modern era. They've been excellent over the course of this year. But the Nuggets, man, they've been taking care of business. And, the NBA is so different because, having a 112.2 defensive rating in a lot of eras, and basically every era before this in the last 7 years or so, that would be a horrible defensive rating. But now, based on this NBA, where the best offensive rating in the NBA is a 122.1 for the Boston Celtics. That's how elite the NBA has been offensively. Like the 10th best offensive rating in the NBA is the New Orleans Pelicans at 116.7. So the Nuggets have been taking care of business. They've been playing really well. And as everybody knows, since they decided to come back from the All-Star break and basically be monsters, the Nuggets are 20-5. They got the best record in the NBA. They have a 119.0 offensive rating, which is 3rd. And they have the 4th best defensive rating in the NBA at 109.0. 109.0. And I think one of the most surprising things is that the Nuggets were able to go through the playoffs, take care of their business, and then they came into the regular season, and it's just like they just could not get rid of a lot of that care too. And it doesn't mean every game they played perfectly. Doesn't mean every moment they've been perfect. But in the playoffs last year, if you look at the rankings for the playoffs, the Denver Nuggets finished with the 3rd best defense in the playoffs. And the only 2 defenses that finished it better than theirs was the Cleveland Cavaliers, who played 5 games, and the New York Knicks, who played 11 games. The Nuggets played 20 games last year, and they finished 3rd in playoff defense at 110.8. They finished 119.5 in offensive rating. They had a net rating of a plus 8.7, which again is why they went 16-4. Why they went 16-4. So the Nuggets have just been able to carry over the energy. If you go watch some of their best games this year, whether it's the games versus the Lakers, the games versus the Warriors in the fourth quarter, especially of that Jokic that half-court game winner. You look at the game versus the Boston Celtics, the Minnesota Timberwolves recently. Like when the Nuggets are fully engaged, man, their rotations are so sound. Whether they're playing drop, they're playing Jokic at the level, they're icing you on an empty side, pick and roll, whether they're playing a heavy switch scheme, whether they're putting Jokic on Drew Holiday or Herb Jones or whoever your weakest shooter on-ball creator is in a fourth quarter setting to get a stop and to delay your pick and pop. Like, it is so wild that the Nuggets have just been able to capture so much momentum since the playoffs. And again, it's just fundamentally made the team that much more dangerous as they're getting ready for the NBA playoff, y'all. But the Denver Nuggets tonight, they are playing versus Victor Wembanyama, possibly. He has not been ruled out prior to tonight's game like he was last game. They're definitely going to be without Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan. They're going to be without a lot of their really important players. Victor might play today. So the Denver Nuggets are currently minus 10.5 point favorites. They were minus 7.5 point favorites versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. So only 2.5 more points. That means that they don't know who's playing tonight for the Nuggets. We'll see. Maybe Jokic plays. Maybe he doesn't. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I think the Denver Nuggets get a win. I think they improve to 57-24 on the year. 57-24. And the thing is, if the Timberwolves or Thunder lose in that game, and they lose in their game, the Nuggets don't have to play anybody the last game of the year. So we'll see. Nuggets can get their fourth straight win, move to 57-24. That's going to do it here for us at Locked On Nuggets. Shout out to y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple iTunes, and we will see you on the other side. We out.